Welcome to Haunt Weekly. Hello everyone, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this is Haunt Weekly episode 2. We survived. We made it to our second episode. How are you doing, Crystal?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very, very good, actually. It's been a great month so far, and I'm excited to talk about some haunt stuff. And we have a pretty important topic this week.
I would say so.
You know, we were discussing what we wanted our first real episode to be about.
Right.
And, you know, we had all these ideas, like we're going to do like basic haunt construction, we're going to do haunt design, all this stuff. But then we realized that whenever we, you know, design, build, act in, sneeze near, visit, talk to, breathe on a haunted attraction, the first thought on our head, and probably the alpha and the omega, is safety.
Yeah. So this might not be one of those fun instructional ones. We will get to those, but we have to do a safety first kind of thing.
Yeah, we've got to do it makes sense. We're such safety first haunters.
Yeah.
And it makes sense that we make this a safety first podcast, other than our introductions, obviously.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got a lot to talk about. This is gonna be a packed episode.
There is a lot to talk about. We are just gonna be touching on a lot of topics this time. We're not gonna go in depth into anything, but we will have future episodes where we'll go into more detail about specifics.
Yeah, we've already outlined episodes we want to talk about actor safety specific. We're going to touch on it.
Yes.
We're going to say a few words about it this time, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But we want to do a full half an hour or an hour on where this is going to be bam, you know, passing through it type conversation.
Yeah.
So I guess to begin with, we should talk about why safety is number one. That seems obvious, but judging from our expeditions to other haunts, it seems maybe the point hasn't gotten across universally.
Yeah. You want your customers to be safe because then they will like you and want to come back, and they won't sue you if they get hurt.
Yeah.
And you want to keep your actors safe because that tells them that you're thinking about them.
And a safe actor is a healthy actor, is a working actor.
Right.
And is someone that, you know, is going to be part of your family. I mean, basically, you know, your customers and your actors and your other volunteers or employees, they're your family.
Yeah.
You treat your family right. You don't put them in peril, man. You know? And that's one of those things is a lot of haunts we've been to seem to not grasp this concept.
Yeah. And, you know, there have been some teaching moments when building our haunt, because we've had over the years a couple of teenagers who would come in and help out, and I would let them present their ideas. Like, you know, there was one that wanted forks sticking out of the wall. So I let her do it.
Yeah, let her build it.
I let her build it, and then I say, okay, run into it. And she's like, you're crazy. I'm like, well, that's what people are going to be doing. We don't want people to get hurt. Yeah. So then she took them out, and we replaced it with, you know, doll pieces.
Or something. Yeah, and it actually wound up way creepier. Right?
It was.
That uncanny valley stuff gets to me.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that, I'm sure, in another episode, too.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Yeah. So, let's sort of start at the beginning here.
Okay.
When you are very first designing or thinking about building a haunt, whether it's a big haunt, a little haunt, how does safety enter into that very first stage?
In the very first stage, with where you're going to have people. Mm-hmm. I mean, whether it's a walkway or an actor area, you've got to make sure that, you know, there are fire code compliances. We will have an episode going deep into fire code later.
Oh, jeez. Not looking forward to it.
Yeah. Walkways are to be
3 feet.
Yes. We like to do 3 feet plus a few extra inches just in case anybody has wheelchairs or
there's some kind of difficulty. And the thing I find most important for safety, in my experience, both at our haunt and others, is solid flipping walls, people.
Well, yeah. Okay. So our very first year, we talked about it a little bit on the last podcast, with that work that we had to do and what we had to work with.
Which, admittedly, like I said, we're talking 2005, New Orleans, just post-Katrina. Not exactly the building supply capital of the universe at the time.
No, it was very difficult to find lumber. So what we did was we went online and we found a lot of people who were using 1x2 and 2x2 frames with tarp.
Yeah.
Tarp sheeting. So we took a play out of their book.
And it lasted the whopping, 7 hours or so we were building an operation.
Yeah.
Not much longer.
No, we learned something very important.
Yeah.
If you plan on actually scaring people, those walls come down.
Yeah. And you need to be prepared for people to be scared in ways you don't predict.
Yes.
In early years, we tried to think, okay, well, we're going to do the smart things like scare forward. We're doing all the right things. But it always amazes me, like, okay, the scare's coming from behind. They're going to go this way.
Right.
And that's what we prepare for. And then we learn, yes, 90% of people go that way. But there's that 10% that goes somewhere completely different.
Yes. And also, we learned that the first year in the garage haunt, we had put down a line to follow. Follow the line, you'll stay safe.
Right thing,
it was a glow-in-the-dark orange line.
We're still getting that damn tape up.
Yes, we are. And we had arrows on the wall for the specific areas that were a little bit muddy. And people still could not find their way sometimes because when you're that scared, you're not looking at the floor.
And that plays more to the haunt layout thing,
which
I know we're going to do soon.
Right.
That's definitely one of the next episodes, and we'll talk more then. But yeah, it also plays to safety.
Because there's a clear path to go.
When people don't know definitively and instinctively, I think instinctively is the better word.
Yes.
Where to go, you either A, have to break character as an actor and tell them, go that way, or whatever, or B, you've got a risky situation of people running into random crap.
Right.
And you don't want that. And the deal is this. The courts seem to be pretty generous to us haunters. Mm-hmm. They recognize that people who go into a haunted attraction are taking on an assumed risk, and that as long as the haunted attraction doesn't do anything completely insane, or its actors, completely reckless, if they pass their fire code inspection type thing, and they don't have actors actively doing stupid, crazy stuff, they're probably okay from a legal standpoint, but you still don't want to be in a position where A, someone got seriously hurt, because that's bad press. B, you don't want the hassle of a lawsuit.
Right.
And C, you don't want the reputation of being a place that you don't want to go to because it's legitimately dangerous.
Yeah. And there is a huge difference in being seemingly dangerous and actually dangerous.
It's like a roller coaster. A roller coaster is perfectly safe. You're less likely to die on the roller coaster than the drive to the amusement park. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's as reasonably safe as it can get, but it feels extremely dangerous. Yeah. That's what you're going for.
Right.
And so, yeah.
So, yeah, that would be a clear pathway situation for a safety concern.
And make sure that everything you have is a solid wall of some sort. Make sure all nails, screws, sharp edges, anything like that is ground down, removed, or otherwise not there.
Right. And this is something that is important for both customer and actor areas.
Yes.
We have worked in haunts where the actor area was not done that way and have seen people get scratched on nails.
And they'll do, the builders will do things like they're setting up, putting up the walls and so forth. Mm-hmm. And so they'll hammer in a nail, and they'll hammer it in from the customer side.
Right.
So from the customer side, it's just a flat nail up against the wall. But if you're an actor on the other side of that wall, getting ready to jump out or getting ready to operate a scare or whatever, there's like a bed of nails pointed at you, and that's not cool.
Right.
You have to feel it out from both sides of it. And that's one thing a lot of haunts don't seem to do. And to be frank, the people in most danger in a haunted attraction are the actors, hands down.
Yeah.
Not they spend the most time there.
Yeah.
So just by sheer, volume of time,
statistics,
they have the upper hand in getting hurt.
Right.
But also, they are the ones who are working to ensure the safety of the customers, ideally.
Right.
The customers, however, are very rarely doing anything to ensure the safety of the actors.
Yes, because when customers react, there is a fight or flight. So it is not unheard of for actors to get punched or kicked or hit in some way.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you're on the right path.
Yeah.
Which is why the whole idea of an actor retreat space is so important.
Yeah.
In our haunt, and most of the haunts we've designed, actors are usually segregated from the people, from the customers to some degree.
Right.
Usually by some barrier.
Well, at least they have the choice of being segregated.
They can make the choice to be in the room with them.
But then they know that they are taking that risk on themselves.
Yes. And even if they are in that room, they have a quick retreat space they can go to.
Right.
If a customer starts really freaking out and starts attacking, which that to be honest, that has not actually truly happened.
Yeah.
Not an outright vicious assault. Usually it's more like the reflex punch. And
yeah, we had that happen a couple of times with an actor who found a new place to scare people from.
Mind you, beautiful scare. Beautiful scare.
Beautiful scare, very effective. Effective enough that he got hit a couple of times.
Luckily,
he knew what he was getting into when he chose it.
He was a big dude and he could take it and
yeah.
blah, blah, blah. But, it was his choice at that point.
Right.
And we was like, well, as long as you're cool with occasionally getting tagged, it's your choice. I'm not going to stop you from scaring the bejesus out of people.
Right.
But, yeah, as long as it's not unsafe to the customers and you're the one assuming the risk, I'm fine with it. But, yeah, you want those retreat spaces. You want places actors can go and get away from a dangerous situation should one develop. Like a common situation for an actor might face as dangerous is a runner.
Right.
If they're positioned in the center of a room or the center of a walkway getting ready to do a shtick or whatever, and a runner bolts in blind from the previous scene, they can freaking get speared. I mean...
Yeah, and that's true. And also, that's true for... We went to one haunt where you had a head-on collision with a child actor.
Yeah.
Because the child was told to run.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a very bizarre attraction. It's not open anymore, and I wish I could remember the name of it.
Yeah.
It was in Slidell. That's all I remember. That's all I can tell you about. It was in Slidell.
Yeah, it was the most
no,
it wasn't the most unsafe. It was one of the most unsafe.
It was one of the most unsafe built haunts. Yes. Because it had a lot of problems with it from a build. I don't know how they passed fire code compliance.
No.
I'm just going to say that. But anyways, there was a weird claustrophobia tunnel where you were getting down and you were crawling. If you were an adult, like I'm 6 feet tall.
Right. It was it was on a slant downwards, and so you had to crouch by the end of it, basically.
Yeah, and basically, I being 6 feet, I was on my hands and knees pretty much.
Yeah.
It was more comfortable for me in my back than trying to do the duck walk and all that jazz. So, and this little girl, child actor, could not have been more than like 5.
Yeah.
Comes tearing around a corner, charging with a fake knife into the tunnel, does not see me, and just head on, face to face, collides with me.
No.
I'm on the ground, I'm seeing stars. She gets up and scurries away. I stumble and try to check and see if she's okay, because I'm at the end of the tunnel.
Right.
I'm at the part where I can stand now. But she disappears into an actor safe space, which is a good move. And I inquired about it out back after we got out of the place too, and I didn't get any answers then. So I have no idea if this little girl was okay.
Yeah.
To this day, I don't know.
I'm hoping she is.
I'm hoping she is. But whoever told her...
generally do bounce back.
So. But whoever told her to run screaming blind into a tunnel like that...
Yeah.
Probably needs to check their advice.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because you got to be especially careful with child actors, though.
Yeah.
And safety of child actors is one of the tougher issues.
Yeah, and we'll talk about using
child actors.
Children.
Child actors is definitely a full episode.
Yeah.
But the general rule we have found is child actors never leave the zone of their guardian.
Yeah.
We have found that to be a very good rule. We've used them, And we've had a few that were quite successful.
Yes.
But anyone under like the age of 14, 15, because usually by that point in life, you know how to not to stick the fork in the electric socket.
Right.
You figured out the basics of being smart, and you can put them in scare roles that have low risk.
Yeah.
But kids, honest to God, kids, they never leave the zone of their parent or guardian, whoever that is. And the reason for that is we need an adult with responsibility and authority over the child pretty much within arm's reach at all time. Yeah. In case they do something stupid. Yeah. And we have had a few, and not unsafe incidents, but we have had incidents where child actors have done things
that weren't with our haunt. Yeah. Because we are, family friendly, which means there's no profanity. We had to correct someone on that because they didn't get it. Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty funny. Yeah.
Hilarious profanity it may be.
Yes.
It was not allowed.
At adults.
And directed appropriately at adults. Yes. All
but
that very
still not allowed.
But still not what we were aiming for with the spirit of the attraction.
Yeah, we learned to make sure that somebody had that conversation before the doors open for future references.
Yeah, and that raises the other specter of actor rules. Yes. And the role that plays.
Right.
In safety.
Yeah, and it's very important if you're a home haunt, a small professional haunt, or a big grandiose production, you have to let your actors know what's allowed.
You got to let them know the rules in general. And that includes not just safety stuff. It includes, the type of things they're allowed to shout, how they're allowed to scare, touch or no touch. Right. Things like that are very important.
Yes. And drinks or no drinks, because we've worked in both.
Yeah, and like one of the firm rules we have is no alcohol, no drugs or anything like that while the haunt is open.
You have to be sober.
You have to be completely sober.
Yeah.
Now, afterward, party on, Wayne.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Once the door's shut, party on, Wayne. Whatever you choose to partake in after that is completely your business in my book.
Right. Yeah.
But up until that point, no.
It's not safe for the actors, it's not safe for the customers, and it's not safe for management.
And people, to be frank, aren't themselves when they're inebriated.
Right.
And they sometimes will do things that they would never do normally. That's dangerous in a haunt environment, having someone with a very different personality than what you put them in there for.
Right. And the one that we did work at, they did allow drinking in the haunt during hours.
Yes.
Which they did wind up getting in trouble for.
Yes.
Those actors that were really drunk.
Really drunk.
Yes. Like really drunk.
Wasn't that the night I was working the ticket booth?
Yeah, not only did they, get the cops called on the haunted attraction.
So yeah, the little the cop that is paid to sit there, the detail officer, that there has to go put down the newspaper and go in the back and deal. Not kidding, this actually happened.
Yeah, so not only did that happen, but they damaged equipment.
They puked in a fogger.
Yeah. Well, they did other things to it too, okay. but yes, that's the one we'll say. They missed their timing on their scares poorly before they were at the point where they couldn't stand. Yeah. And it just became a really dangerous situation, and we had to close down early that night.
Yeah, and that was bad for the haunt because they were losing money, and they were. I mean, granted, that was fairly early in the season, but they were already so strapped for actors in that particular haunt. Yeah. That they were forced to close down early, and they were trying to build some momentum coming into the later season, and they just could not do it. Right. In part because they lost that very key Saturday night there.
Right. And I will say that we've watched that haunt grow up. Yeah. And now their actors are sober. Yeah. Because we still visit it every year.
Yeah, we love the guys. Yeah. There's no beef here.
Yeah. Just, making sure that we mentioned that they learned that lesson too.
And I think that night was key to learning the lesson, frankly. They seem to have younger actors. They seem to cater a lot of high school drama actors.
And family groups.
Family groups. Basically, and I know it sounds crazy to say this, but a more mature group. 'Cause yes, high schoolers can be more mature than your adult actors.
Yeah.
Believe me.
Well, at least the young adults, like 21
Yeah,
to
exactly.
24.
It can be problematic. But yeah, so one of the things that we do is we try to have a safety meeting before every before every night we're open. At least get in and let everyone know what's going on in their area, who the supervisor is, which is pretty much you.
Yeah.
But also the dangers of their particular area, what to watch out for, and what to do if something happens.
Right.
We usually have at least one person on staff who is first aid trained. So we've had paramedics and police officers work it too,
and firemen.
And firemen, and that's fine. But at least one person who's first aid. Nurses also have been on our staff.
Yeah.
So, but someone there is first aid trained usually.
Right.
Someone. I don't care who.
And in bigger haunts, they will have full paramedics and things.
Yeah. There on site. Yeah.
Yeah, because if a customer has a panic attack or a heart attack, you don't want to have to wait for an ambulance to get to you.
Yeah. And that's why you need actors who are being aware of these things.
Right.
Whose job, it's to scare people, but also to watch and be aware and look for warning signs of panic. We've had to escort people out of our haunt for panic attacks.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things people don't realize whenever they're getting into a scare role is that they are also partially responsible for the safety of the customer.
Yeah, definitely. And yes, being in a scare role is fun and games. It's a blast.
Oh, yeah.
But it is a serious responsibility, too.
Yeah.
You have to be careful not to injure the customer, injure any other actors. And you have to be careful that you are watching to make sure that everything is A-okay.
Right.
That this person is not having a panic attack, a heart attack, anything.
Right.
An
they're
asthma
just
attack.
having fun.
Yeah, they're just having fun. And with some customers, it is very difficult to tell.
Yes.
Let me be honest.
Yeah.
It can be really difficult to tell.
Signs to look out for would be like clutching a chest or not being able to catch their breath, stopping completely.
Unable to speak.
Right.
Completely unable to speak or scream or anything.
Yeah.
Look for warning signs. There's some great guides out there on that. And like I said, this is once again where it pays to have someone first aid trained.
Yes.
Hanging around because they can spot those signs faster than I can. I mean, I'm just a front of line haunt actor. I ain't got to worry about that part.
Yeah.
But watch out for that stuff very, very closely. Now, let's talk about some other haunt elements. Let's get back to more of the design and the build a little bit.
Okay.
Stairs.
Okay. So the only place that I've seen stairs done appropriately. Granted, we haven't been to many haunts with stairs.
Yeah, I think haunts with stairs are super rare to begin with for reasons we're about to go into.
Yes. The mortuary.
Yes.
The mortuary is a multi-level floor.
It's in an old mortuary.
It is. They are under strict guidelines by the historical district, so they can't make
permanent changes.
And they have a guard at the top and at the bottom of the stairs with a flashlight.
And no goddamn scares or anything spooky, remotely worrisome. The stairs are well lit.
Right.
Basically, it's just please go down the stairs and then resume your haunt experience.
Right. And, some people complain that takes them out of it, but I personally look forward to that little respite.
Yeah. Well,
because you're so on. And
that's one thing the mortuary actually does pretty well, is they build their pacing around that.
Right.
Because you'll notice you have your little respite, and usually they just change the layout every year, but this has been something I've noticed is kind of a theme of theirs. You'll come out from the respite, and then you'll do something like moderately scary. You'll go into a claustrophobia tunnel or a closet or something. You know what I mean? Not anything too hard-hitting.
Right.
And then it's attack, and then they pull you slowly, decrescendo it.
Right.
Then there's the next set of stairs, climb up, climb down, whichever way it is you're going this time.
Right.
And then they crescendo and decrescendo again.
Yeah.
It's pretty beautifully done, actually. You pay attention to it. It's very, very smart.
Yeah. And actually, it was both of the ones that we went to this year in Illinois, of the big ones, had stairs.
Yes.
The stairs at the darkness were leading into it. There were no scares. It was well lit because that was just the entrance to the haunt. I don't remember it being any Actually,
I think you're thinking of the Abyss that had the stairs.
No, that had the stairs going down.
Yes.
The Darkness had the stairs going up.
Okay.
The Abyss stairs
you're right.
were the original stairs that was a spiral staircase down into the Abyss. And it was kind of terrifying because I don't really like stairs.
Yeah, well...
but that's just, a personal standpoint. That's not because there was anything wrong with their stairs.
This will go on our Stuff That Scares You episode we'll probably inevitably do.
That would be a very short list.
Well, hey, we all have our fears. There are things that even get haunters in haunted houses at the end of the day. And so a conversation for another day. But yeah, I get it. You don't like stairs. I actually rather liked the stairs at Linton Brewery. They were fairly well lit.
Yeah, they
It was
were.
a very creepy iron spiral staircase.
It definitely
and you really
led to it.
felt like you were going into the bowels of hell.
Yeah.
But they didn't put any scares on it. And then in fact, it was a little bit awkward how they had to wall off the various levels. So you went down to like the lowest level.
Right.
You pretty much went straight down to what felt like the center of the goddamned earth.
Well, it was inside of a cave system,
Yeah.
so that's kind of true.
But yeah, once again, it never felt unsafe, though, is what I'm hitting at.
Basically, if you're going to have stairs, don't scare on the stairs.
Most of the time, you're better off not having stairs if you can avoid it.
Yes.
There's a reason why most large haunts avoid them.
There was one incident of a few steps. It wasn't even a full staircase in Mississippi, where the guy was walking up them and with a cane and fell.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if he still fell off of the stair part or off of the bridge that they led up to.
Yeah, it was kind of at the intersection between the two.
Yeah, that was definitely a safety concern that was just ignored.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll be telling a few safety gone wrong stories at the end of this episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was one of the worst ones for me. And that's the thing, is if you're going to have stairs, they have to be of a standard rise and run.
Right. Standard rise and run.
Good traction.
Good traction, well lit. Yeah, and that also applies for
railings,
ramps.
Mother God. Yeah.
Railings and ramps.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to have a ramp, you have to make sure that it's not going to get slippery.
Yes. And if you want guidance on a ramp, I highly recommend looking up the ADA guidelines.
Right.
Because if a wheelchair can get up it, you can be reasonably assured your ambulatory customers can too.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely though. Traction on any elevation change you're doing.
Right.
And most haunts prefer ramps. I mean, I'm thinking like 13th Gate here, House of Shock. They both make heavy use of ramps.
Yes. Well, that same haunt that we were talking about in Mississippi, because I think it's okay to just sprinkle some badness that happened in with all the good ones. So the same one that had the guy on the cane fall, we had trouble getting up their ramp.
Yeah.
Because it was a steep incline with no railing, and it was out in the middle of the woods, so it was damp and slippery because they didn't have any anti-slip functions.
They put down like a grating on it or something, but it was not enough.
I didn't think that they even had that. I thought it was just painted.
They did. They did it with that concrete paint. They did something to it that was just completely covered in dew.
Yeah.
It was an absolute. Whatever it was would have been great indoors.
Yeah.
But once it got like really wet, and this is like I said, this is Mississippi woods. When it becomes covered with dew, it's going to get covered like a layer of dew, and it became impossible to climb. And we don't mess around with our footwear in this household.
No.
I mean, I'm wearing non-slip Red Wing boots.
Yeah.
We're the types of people that we're not wearing no dainty. We wear work shoes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We're not wearing heels and sandals and things.
Yeah, we're wearing real shoes here.
And we had trouble.
And I nearly face planted on it. And
yeah.
With pretty much every traction advantage I could give myself.
Yes.
I still nearly face planted on it. So yeah, that was, if you're going to have elevation changes, make sure there's a damned reason for it.
Right.
I mean, I understand like the mortuary and so forth. There are times where the building necessitates it.
Right.
But like this haunt we're talking about here, there really wasn't a point.
No, it was an outdoor trail. You went up the ramp, you went down a ramp on the other side, and it was a built-in piece. So there was no reason for that to exist. There just wasn't.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think you crossed like a little, like a ditch, not even like a creek, like a ditch. I think you crossed something. I don't remember because I was too busy trying not to fall into it.
Yeah.
But the point remains, they could have done it with less of a rise and run.
Yeah, because basically they could have just put a plank of wood across it and it would have worked. But
like in the video games where they chop down the tree.
Exactly.
Walk across that.
Yeah, that would have been safer.
Assassin's Creed, the haunted house.
Oh, God. But yeah.
Yeah, you know, if you're going to have an elevation change, make sure, there's a need for it.
Right.
If you can get away without doing it, it's much safer. But if you need one, ideally it should be a ramp with an ADA-compliant rise and run.
Yep.
If it's got to be stairs, you're probably going to have an elevator or some other means of surpassing it somewhere else. Mm-hmm. But if it's got to be stairs, don't even dream of putting a scare anywhere near it.
No, because that's how people get hurt.
Yeah, that's how people get hurt, and that is how you do get successfully sued.
Right.
I mean, that's really bad news to do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, elevation changes are very, very complicated and very difficult. I personally try to avoid them as much as I can.
Yeah. So let's go back real quick. The walkways.
Yes.
And the clear paths. Because what we were talking about with 3-foot walkways and everything was specifically for
fire code purposes.
Fire code purposes.
Porpoises.
And really thinking about indoor haunts. Let's talk about outdoor haunts for a minute and their walkways.
Yeah, we have been to a pretty good variety of outdoor trails.
Yeah. And
most of them, whether they were just like it was an indoor haunt with an outdoor portion or an entire outdoor trail, we thought the trail sucked.
Yeah. Most.
We thought it was extremely dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought it was extremely unfun.
Yeah.
But then we ran across, while we were in Illinois, the Waterloo Sportsman Club. We'll say the name of the ones we really like. You can go back to the reviews we did on Garbage Horror and figure out the ones we're complaining about.
Right.
We're hiding it too well here.
No.
But basically, they had a very, very lengthy trail haunt that I thought was immaculate.
Yeah, it was a great haunt experience. It took 30 minutes to get through. The trail itself was wide enough probably for 4 or 5 people.
It was. I think it was an 8-foot wide trail at most points.
Yeah, so it was.
You could do like a Mary Poppins like step in time dance all the way down, even fine.
Yeah, it was plenty of room. They had rope lights lighting the entire way, except for where they had buildings that you would walk through, pathways inside the buildings. And the ground was compacted and covered. There were no roots or trees or anything to worry about stepping on.
And compare this to like other trail haunts we've been on, where it's a silly-ass narrow trail.
Yeah.
It's silly-ass narrow. It's not even 3 feet wide, the trail, realistically. It is not compacted. It has stumps and roots and stuff. It does not have any kind of mulch on it. It is not lit.
Right.
And basically 90% of my time going through this haunt is yelling to the people in the back of the line, "Stump here!
Yep.
Don't trip!"
Watch it. And I have fallen on a couple of those. Just because it was so poorly kept. And it's even harder whenever you position a strobe light towards the people walking forward.
Yeah, this isn't...
So, if you're going to have...
oh, God, strobes.
There's a reason we don't use them in our haunt.
Yeah.
And that is because they're annoying.
I don't want to work in a haunt with strobes, is what it comes down to, God damn it.
Pretty much. There's that. It also is a safety issue because not everybody reacts to them the same way.
Well, there are people with epilepsy.
Yeah.
Who it's very dangerous for them.
Yeah. And if you have any kind of experience with lighting, you can light things to look creepy and not have to use a strobe.
Yeah.
Lighting it's going to be a whole another episode. Let me get off of lighting.
Yeah.
But the important thing here is don't point the lights directly at the people walking along your path because then they can't see and avoid tripping on those stumps and things that you didn't bother to clear out.
Yeah, and I've never, in all of my life, with all the friends I visited, I've never been into a house with a strobe.
No.
No, nobody's home has had a strobe in it.
No.
A general rule I have is don't put any lighting in your haunt that you would not put in your home.
Right.
And we would put some creepy freaking lighting in our home without any questions.
This is true. But we're kind of special though.
But it's not like dangerous or annoying lighting.
Right.
It's dim, yes. It's dark, yes. It's colored weird, yes. It's creepy, yes. But it's not annoying or unsafe either.
Right, because not only do you have to think about your customers going through when you buy that, but you have to think about your actors who are going to be working in it however many nights you're open for hours on end. I mean, it really does cause a problem, and I really don't understand why a lot of haunts still insist on using strobes. It's one of my pet peeves.
Especially especially like I said, directly in the eyes.
Right.
There are ways you can integrate strobes that are more safe.
Right.
Like I've seen one haunt, I can't remember, I'm trying to remember which one it was, but they put a strobe in the ceiling shining up to an overceiling.
Right.
So you could see like shadows and things moving up above you.
Yeah.
That was pretty sweet.
Yeah, I think that was actually the Abyss.
Oh, it was?
Because that's how I saw the cave walls.
Okay. Yeah, I remember seeing that at one point. I thought that was pretty slick.
Yeah.
But yeah, into the eyes of people, no. I can't fathom doing that. And I don't know why so many haunts feel the need to do it.
Yeah, and if you've got to blind me to try to scare me with a really bright light in the dark, I lose some respect for you because it doesn't work for me. And I just think it's a safety issue. Because if I can't see what you're trying, if you can't scare me without blinding me, then there's an issue.
Yeah. I don't know. It's really frustrating. And like I said, the lighting has to be done in a way, as we talked about in the beginning, that people know instinctively where to go.
Right, and that is one of the things. We're getting into lighting.
I know, I'm sorry.
We're getting way into lighting. Okay, let's go back to safety.
Okay, let's
just
change subject.
These
here.
are going to happen.
Change subject here.
Yeah. So back to the trail at Waterloo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really immaculate trail, really wide, well lit. The whole thing.
Even though it was in the slap dab in the middle of rural woods, it felt like you were walking on a shag carpet the entire way through.
Yeah, it was great. It really was. Yeah, as opposed to the one in Mississippi that did have all sorts of overgrowth on the trail, not to mention no clearing of the path.
Yeah.
Other than, cut down to stumps, that just leaves a lot of stumps to walk through. It'd honestly be easier to find your way through trees than over stumps.
I agree.
And with the lighting directly at you, it was...
Yeah, and that trail was not lighted at all, and that made the situation so that they had to have a guide lead you through it.
Right.
And if you didn't have that guide there, would you have ever found your way around that trail?
Probably not. And I mean...
I don't think I would have.
That's one of the things. Here's the key difference between those two experiences. The one in Mississippi, we were so worried about actually getting hurt, we weren't able to have fun.
Yeah.
At Waterloo Sportsman's Club, we were so not worried about getting hurt that we all were able to get scared and had a great time getting scared.
That was truly, I think, my favorite haunt experience of this year.
Yeah.
And it was in large part because they took such good care of the trail. They lighted it so well. Yeah. I never was in doubt of where I'm going. I never was in doubt that I was going to be vertical after the next step.
Right.
And, yeah, it made for a great, great time.
Yeah, because if you're able to relax and not think about it.
Yeah, you can really enjoy the experience. You can immerse yourself in it comfortably.
Right.
Which is, that's what haunts are about, is immersion. If I'm sitting here having to not fall on my ass every single step, that I don't have any immersion.
Right. That doesn't allow me to get into the haunt to begin with. Not to mention taking me out of the experience. It just never lets me get into it.
Exactly.
Okay.
The other thing I wanted to mention, this was another one that should be blatantly obvious, but another big safety faux pas we've seen at other haunts. Props for actors.
Yes, props and prop layout, and we'll go into layout more.
Yeah, later.
Because there are animatronics too that have had issues.
Indeed. You are right about that.
But I know where you're going.
Yeah. Don't use real weapons.
Correct. You just don't. I don't care how scary it is. Okay, so if you have something real and it is several feet away from everything, it's a part of a background prop. It's behind glass.
Bolted to a wall.
It's somebody's using it behind glass, or they're doing the sparky thing away from customers, but still scary out of the dark stuff.
Yeah.
That's one thing. But whenever you come up to someone and you take a really sharp knife and put it on their neck, that's not a good idea, especially on an outside trail where they could fall.
Yeah.
Actually happened.
Yeah, and the other thing about it is you don't know how people are going to react.
No.
And who has had some degree of martial arts training
and
might be restraining an instinct.
Well, it's not only that, but it's, if somebody were really scared by that, which I guess any sane person would have been, yes, I know. But, there is that flight thing. And if they have that flight reaction and try just to run forward, they're going to cut their neck, you know?
But yeah, I mean...
It's dangerous for everybody to do that kind of stuff.
And, you can... And this is the thing. There are prop weapons out there that are safe, look really good, and frankly don't cost that much money.
Right. Now, we do not buy the little cheap plastic things other than for decoration in the ceiling. Yeah. Our actors do have rubber, completely rubber weapons to use and bang on things because they don't tear up. And if you accidentally... It has not happened that anyone other than Jonathan has accidentally been hit with one of those.
Yeah, I got it. But I'll say this.
That was a first year in the garage problem.
Yeah, and we were working on some timing issues.
Yeah.
And I think it was your brother.
No, it was Jesse with because he was stalker that year.
Okay. Yeah, basically he misjudged the timing. This is what we were working on.
Right.
And basically swung a rubber hatchet, I think it was.
A knife, yeah.
Or something like that, and just nailed me right in the back. Now, here's the thing. Did it hurt? Yes. Did it do any permanent damage? No.
Big difference.
If you give me the choice of which I'm going to get hit with, I've made my decision. Thank you very much.
Right.
But yeah, but never introduce the element of real weapons in any way that's customer contacting or customer facing like that.
Right.
It's just too dangerous. And a lot of people are going to say, well, how do you scare them? How do you scare them? Like I said, you got to either be creative, or you can acquire like very, very realistic looking weapons, and pretty cheap actually. I mean, like I remember we got most of our rubber weapons, and they look pretty good. We got them from like a Kmart sale after Halloween sale like 5 years ago.
Yeah, and we've been to conventions too where they sell even more realistic, ones that are custom made and they look awesome. We bought a few of those that are going on sale too.
And like I said, we prefer solid rubber, no plastic, no foam.
Right.
They are heavier, and yes, they will cause ouchies if you do hit someone with it, but no one will die.
Right. And it won't damage your panels if you hit it.
Yeah. And it won't damage the weapon if you hit the panel.
Right. So it's a win-win all around. Quick touch on the animatronics and things. We've been through haunts, and it seems to be something that's happening more where animatronics come into the walkway of the visitors.
Yeah. And in a way that's fine, so long as it's done in a way that the visitors have adequate time and adequate space to escape it and not get hit.
Right. Don't have it come all the way across the walkway. Or, a spiky tail that spins around really quick and is hard to avoid. That's just not safe.
Yeah, I've been nipped by a couple of animatronic spiders. and things like that. And the main thing,
fly trap.
The main thing there is the 3 feet has to be sacred.
Yeah.
It just has to be.
Yeah. I mean, basically, you can put things in it that actors move out of the way as people get closer.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like the Mitch Hedberg bit about blocking a fire escape.
Yeah, exactly. But, even that's tricky because if somebody's running, you might not have time to get it. Especially if your actor is, falling asleep on the job or something.
Yeah, you've got to, that 3 feet, 3 feet, 3 feet, 3 feet
yes.
is sacred. You cannot intrude upon it. Not in any way that is not, a human being responding immediately to what's going on.
Right.
If you have an animatronic that is not capable of sensing when it's got a person's hand or leg in their mouth,
right,
you've got a problem. And I've never been hurt seriously about it, but I mean, I remember once, and it was not at a big haunt, it was like a fair haunt or something.
Right.
I got headbutted by one of those pop-up, you know what I mean? There's little pneumatic pop-up. They're supposed to like hit like a cage or something, and splat against the cage. Yeah, well, the cage wasn't there. I don't know if they didn't put it up, or if they didn't put it up, or if they forgot, whatever. But it wasn't there. So I'm like walking around this corner, and I'm like, it's over here to my side, and pneumatic pop out there, poof, call me square on. I was a teenager.
It came out of the side and hit you in the side of the head because they couldn't see that illustration that I just watched.
Yeah, sorry. So, yes, we're an audio-only podcast.
Yes.
But yeah, basically, I was like, so I was facing the side. It was facing my side. It came out, and it just tagged me square on my temple. No harm done. It was luckily a soft head, but yeah, stuff like that you've got to avoid.
You got to think about it.
Yeah. Because, like I said, that 3 feet has to be sacred, and if you don't leave it sacred, if you would do intrude upon it with animatronics or props or something else, or even actors who have no clue what to do.
Right.
You risk people getting hurt because A, that causes fight or flight. Yes. And it pushes people to fight.
And we are not talking about like in closets where the clothes are hanging throughout the walkway. As long as they move and you can see the clear path underneath. Yes. In fact, in our little closet, the clothes come down about 3/4 of the wall. I'm looking at it so I can see 3/4 of the wall, and there's a bright light on the other side showing you exactly where to go. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, okay. Yeah. I guess calling it. So, I meant, but by 3 feet, I mostly think about the footpath. Yes, exactly. No, I know what you meant, but I just wanted to explain that in case somebody.
You can put obstacles in it, but the footpath has to remain clear.
Yes. Agreed.
They have to be able to continue walking forward and moving forward or running, whatever. And that's when you run into troubles, when you block that and people can't leave and people don't instinctively know where to go. That's when things get really risky because you don't know how people are going to react. I really wish more haunters would play video games because they would understand about intuitive level design. Yeah. And that's something, like I said, to touch on. But the main thing is, if you give people an intuitive path, when they are scared, when they are anxious, when they feel threatened, they'll follow it. Right. They will take it. Yes. Most of the time, almost all the time. Not all the time. Like I said, that's why all these walls are solid. Yeah. It's because you can't trust that 100%.
Yeah. Now, I will say that there is one place that has successfully used the tarp walls and scared people. Oh. Lafitte Fire Department.
That's true.
Because their walls are at least 8 feet away from the walkway. Yeah. That's the only way to make that work.
Yeah. If you manage to ever touch one of the... Well, they're not doing it anymore. But if you would ever manage to actually touch one of their walls, something had gone horribly wrong. Because it was literally on 4 feet on either side of you. And they used a lot of prop-based layout to funnel you down the center. Right. Which I thought was pretty brilliant. Yeah. But the main thing for me is, if you don't give people that clear path, if you don't make it clear where people are going to go, what they're supposed to do, where safety lies, so to speak, that's when things get dangerous. That's when people do things. And that's why that horseshoe gear that we had a hairpin turn in the middle of our freaking haunt was such a terrible idea.
Yeah, that was the second year in the garage.
Yeah.
And from now on, it's just going to be second year because the first year really wasn't.
Yeah.
So, and that's where we had the arrows on the wall at eye level to show people where to go, and they still didn't get it. It was a bad idea. Hairpin turns are a bad idea.
Yeah. You want to make sure you use a lot of right angles, not 180-degree turns.
Yeah.
Unless, the exception to that rule, is plot-based layout, where they can see the hairpin turn. They can see over whatever the obstacle is.
Right. Total blackout mazes.
Ooh, terrible.
Dangerous.
And boring.
Yes, they're dangerous and boring. Because people run into each other all the time. Some get headbutted.
Yeah.
Some people decide to turn on their flashlights and
then blind other people.
Or make them run into walls. So basically keep your walkways clear.
Yeah, keep your walkways clear.
Make sure that there's nothing sharp that people can run into. That, and we've had people run into our props. Which the first year we didn't think that was going to happen. We've learned since. Yeah. All of our props are well secured and safe to run into. Might damage the props a little bit, but it just makes them look a little more worn.
Ambiance.
Yes.
Ambiance. Okay.
Yes. Make sure your actor areas are clear of any nails and things. Also, in that haunt with the guy with the cane, he also got stuck on a nail going through a walkway because they didn't pull all their nails out.
Yeah. Or beat them down or whatever. So they didn't clear their nails.
Yeah.
Yeah, that haunt really cheesed me off with the safety.
Make sure that the floors are swept up because a lot of construction stuff gets put on
screws,
to the floor.
Nails, washers.
Yeah. And anything. Yeah.
Small tools.
Yeah. Do thorough cleanouts. And this is, like beginner safety. Yeah. I know, but it's obviously stuff that some people don't think about.
Yeah, that's one of the frightening things about it. It's I know a lot of like haunt industry people are listening, is rolling their eyes, going, "Oh, these guys are only saying the most fundamental things. So basic. I'm not subscribing to your podcast."
Yeah.
But I beseech you, please do subscribe because we wouldn't be saying these things if it were not a problem we've encountered going to haunts.
Yeah.
And another thing I would say. When it comes to your customers, when it comes to your visitors, set the rules, but understand and just assume those rules are not going to be followed 100%. Yes. What's the first rule of every haunt? No running. What does everyone do in a haunt? Run. Well, everyone except me and,
Yeah. And a handful of people. But, so basically build it to where if a toddler were to come in and just ransack your haunt, they wouldn't come. They would be able to make it out alive.
You can say no flashlights, but as you just said in the blackout mazes, what's the first thing that happens when people start, being unable to see where to go? Yeah. The cell phones come out, the flashlights come on.
Yeah, they turned on a flashlight, they blinded me, I headbutted you. Boom,
Whoa.
Accident.
It was a beautiful day, and I nearly had a broken nose.
Yes, I know. We had to check you with their flashlight.
Now we're pulling the flashlights to check my nose.
Yeah.
Because I took a pretty hard hit.
Yeah.
An uncomfortably hard hit.
Sorry.
No. It was not your fault. That's the point. It's the whole point of this exercise. But yeah, I mean, to me, a lot of safety is common sense, but common sense ain't that common.
Yeah.
Build your haunt like you mean it. Keep the 3-foot walkway sacred. The walkway part, not necessarily the waist up part.
Yeah. We went over that.
Keep the walkway sacred. Understand that people, when they're afraid, are not going to listen to your rules. They are going to react in unpredictable ways.
Yes, they're going to run into everything. Make sure everything is secure and safe.
And basically, avoid elevation changes unless absolutely flipping necessary. And if you do, ADA compliant ramps are best for obvious reasons, but if you have to have a stair, for the love of God, don't ever scare anyone near an elevation change.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's a pretty good overview of some of the basics.
Yeah, we'll get into more detail later.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of subsections in here I want to call out, and I especially want to do something on indoor versus outdoor haunts. Looking at not only what's required to build one and make one and operate one, but the risks and rewards of each and the opportunities of each.
Right.
So we got a lot of stuff that we're going to pull out and focus on later.
Right.
But if you're thinking about a haunted attraction, running one or starting up one, the time to think about safety is before you've drawn one line on a piece of graph paper, done anything with CAD.
Right.
You know, from the very first thought needs to be safety, because that's going to impact the building materials you choose.
Right. It's going to
impact where you put it.
Where you put it, where you put your walkways for your visitors so that they have that 3 feet all the time.
Everything. It's going to impact every decision you make. So rather than thinking about how do I build a haunt, I guess the first question to ask is how do I make a haunt safe?
Right.
And then we'll talk about how to build a haunt.
Yep, sounds perfect.
So this is like this was a flyby overview of this topic.
Oh yeah.
I feel like I'm out of breath. We went through it so fast.
Yes.
So tired, winded, marathon over.
Yeah. Remember to give us your comments. If anyone is an expert in the field and wants to come on and talk about it, contact us.
Contact us. Contact info should be on the site by now.
Okay.
We would love to hear from you. And until next time, I don't think we have anything else right now.
No.
So, until next time, we will see you guys next week. Once again, I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Crystal.
And this was Haunt Weekly, Episode 2, all about the basics of safety. A whirlwind tour. I shouldn't do impersonations. We'll see you next week.